Multifamily Millionaires. This is a first part in a series of videos and trainings where I dive deep into the inspiring stories of everyday people, people that you can relate to. These are, in fact, our students who have turned their multifamily dreams into reality. So, first up is our student Chris. He still is a retired airline pilot, and he increased his net worth 15 times with the power of multifamily. Next, he'll share with you what he purchased, what the challenges were, and what the opportunities that he sees today. He'll share that with you, and then we'll end the video with 3 pearls of wisdom from Chris, who is a multifamily multimillionaire. You need to hear what he says. All right, so at any point you have any questions, go ahead and text Peter to 833-942-4516 and we'll get back to you. All right, let's get into the interview. It is so good. Hello everyone, Peter here, and I have a very special guest here with us today, also known as Chris Stravey. He is a longtime student of ours, multimillionaire, and he's here with us to share his story today. Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here always, Peter.
All right, you were with you. I recorded you a few years ago, and a lot has happened and changed since then, real estate wise. So I want to catch up with you and share it with you. So before we do that, Chris, so our audience doesn't have to go back and watch the original videos, can you give us a little clip as to your why?
Sure. Way back in 2016, I had 4 years to go to retire from the airline. And I was chatting with my wife, and we were looking at what we had to retire on. It was all in one place. It was a 401k with my company. And we came to the conclusion that we thought we needed to diversify a little bit in order to have a better foundation for our retirement. So I remembered the story of my dad. He went into commercial property right after he finished his 30 years in the Navy. Went into a freshwater supply plant and sewage facility that he built with 3 other guys, and ran it for a few years and sold it to the city for quite a sum. And it was commercial property, a very odd section of that industry, but I remembered that. So that's what the key was. And so I realized, number one, I didn't know anything about commercial property, nothing, and that it likely would involve some dollars, quite a bit over time. So I needed to find someone who could help me. And to make a long story short, I scoured books, websites, saw some of your publications from before, and gave you a shot and several others. And after several interviews with you and some of your coworkers there, our relationship began. And so that's what happened. And I, over and over and over, I'm so thankful that I went with you as my mentor. For here I am today, so much better off with greater diversification for my retirement.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Chris. So, Chris, real quick, share with us what did you purchase under our mentorship?
The first property I purchased was a surprise to me, I think to you also, was multifamily, but a multifamily 90 unit property, probably a little bit large. We talked about that a lot when we started off together, the pros and cons. So that was my first property, a 90 unit multifamily here in the greater Houston area.
You bought it for what, 3,050,000, I believe, something like that, right?
Yeah, just a smidgen over 3 million.
And today it's worth about $4 to $5 million, about 5 million.
Close to 5 million, that's correct.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then from there, you refinanced, pulled all your money back, and then you wanted to do the next deal. Share with us the next deal.
Sure. So the complexity of buying the apartments was such that I wanted, like you said, to refinance after a year. And I wanted to diversify into something different other than multifamily, just to have a greater foundation. in commercial property.
Yeah.
And I got interested in storage, and nothing really happened from 2017 till 2 years later in July, having followed your advice to develop relationships with brokers and financiers and investors and banks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One of them called me. I had probably at that time about 7 brokers that were always sending me deals. So I got up within a few hours. I was at the site about 20 minutes from my house, and it was a 170 unit roughly boat and RV storage facility. And
Yeah.
so I called you and we started talking about the differences in this type of property, different nuances, things to be careful about, pros and cons, etc., many times. And so turned in an LOI, then we got a contract and ended up buying it in December of 2019. So basically 3 years after I bought the apartments, we bought the storage facility and then we doubled its size a year and a half later.
Got it. Using an SBA loan with
Yes,
basically no further down payment, right?
right. They took my experience from the apartments, which was only, 3 years of experience there, but things had gone so well. And it was just a blossoming profit loss statement at the apartments. And they liked that. And so the SBA loan was very, very good. It was a variable rate. And then the expansion was with the SBA through the same bank that to help me buy it.
Okay, got it. So you doubled the size of the storage facility, right?
Correct. Correct.
And then you were able to bless your family by having your daughter manage the entire facility.
Yeah, that gets back to an important point, Peter, because you talked about relationships being the golden thread through all commercial property. And yes, we got down to 4 people bidding on the storage facility. And you had mentioned writing a personal letter to the owner, and I did. And it mentioned that my daughter was going to be the manager, and this would be a family business, like it had been since the 1970s when her dad
Mm.
started it. And the lady who was selling it for her family, her dad had passed on, that was so wonderful for her to see. And she's gone by and seen it several times since she sold it to us, and just is so happy. It was personal, almost a personal relationship developed, a good relationship, which it really helped seal the deal for us. And it was sincere. So yes, Margie continues to run it. She's doing an outstanding job. She, a mother of 3, and she runs that business also about 20 minutes from her house. And it's been great for me because I can oversee it, but
Sure.
I don't have to be hands-on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, do you mind sharing what you bought these self-storage for, the price of it, and then now after doubling the size of it in several phases, what is it worth now?
If you'd asked me that question before the Fed had raised interest rates, the combined buying and then run and then expansion comes to $4 million,
Hmm.
roughly 2 million or so to buy it, and then another 2 million to expand it. We went from 170 some units to, I think the way Margie has it configured now, my daughter, it's like 306 units.
Hmm.
And so we get offers every other day from all over the place to sell it. At the old cap rate in before they raised rates 2 years ago, I could have sold it for like 11.5 to 12 million,
Wow.
just due to the massive income that it had.
Sure.
The net operating was incredible, and the cap rate was so low.
Yep.
And now that's changed. So now I would be humble and say probably 9 million. So we have 4 into it, and it's more than doubled since 2019.
Yeah. Awesome. Great job. Okay. All right, Chris. Next question is, now that you have achieved what we call multi-millionaire status, what's changed in your life? Has anything changed in your outlook or anything to share there?
Well, there was a certain level of de-stressing because we diversified, which was our goal,
Yeah.
and we continue to do that. We anticipate selling the apartment complex and doing something else with the net proceeds. So we're continuing to work in commercial property, which has changed my life because I enjoy it so much. When you retire, you need something to do. And I love the business and it's very productive, obviously. And so that's kind of the practical side, it's the mental side. I have had the opportunity in two other neat areas. I'm actually helping a young man who's in his 20s that wants to get started on a very small scale commercial property. So I thought, well, I could do that. And it's personal friends. And so I've started doing that. That gives me great joy. And I just love passing down what you've shown me over the years, which works. So that's great. The other thing was Kim and I have certain nonprofits we like to contribute to. Some are religious, some are not. And then helping family, some extended that need help financially. So we were able not only to continue that level of giving, shall we say, to others in need and others involved in things we value, but also to increase it, which is phenomenal for me. Here I am retired now, and we're able to share more of our wealth than before I retired.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a holistic, good experience for us.
You mentioned increase, and you and I spoke last week on the increase, and you were sharing with me what your wealth has increased, a certain X number. Do you mind sharing what that is?
Oh, I don't mind at all. Let me do my math. I'm trying to remember our conversation. Uh, so in 2016, our net wealth compared today would be about, with the current values, would be about, yeah, 15 times.
Yeah, incredible.
15. Yeah,
Incredible. Yeah. With
yeah.
the decision, I'm not going to say simple decision, but with the decision of taking all the years of work with the airlines, all the retirement savings, and putting it into two commercial properties.
Right. We did borrow against our 401k a couple of times. We didn't take it all, of
Mhm.
course, not have been prudent, but we did do that. And like you had advised me, other people's money's out there. And I
Yeah.
sure went after it. I did what you told me, and I contacted, the hard money people, and they helped me with the first one, the apartments.
Yeah.
And they were good people out of Dallas. They wanted me to succeed. They visited a lot, and it was great. Not all hard money people are like that, but you taught me how
Yeah.
to discern and how to filter out that source. And then, of course, I know they get a little off track, but then said, get some creative financing from the owner, which I did. And as you mentioned earlier in this video, a year later, I wanted to put all that together into a standard loan.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
Chris, thanks for sharing that. Next, I was wondering if you could share a few pearls of wisdom. Our
sure.
channel is for beginners and intermediates, some advanced, and what you've achieved in the last few years is incredible. And I know you learned a lot over those years because I've been with you the whole time. Could you
Yes.
share maybe Chris's pearls of wisdom? Can you share a few of those with us?
Yes. I want to emphasize what I've emphasized before, and that is you have to have a competent, dedicated, committed mentor in your back pocket. You have to. If you haven't done this business in the past, and even if you have, and you think you need a mentor, you do, and you should get one. And of course, I went with you, and you went with me, and you did your due diligence when you were looking at me and what my motivations were and what I was bringing to the table before you brought me aboard. And I appreciated your doing so. So you have to have a good mentor, an accessible mentor. That's something I always emphasize. And of course, the foundation is your experience, Peter, your good experiences, your not so good experiences, and your willingness to share them and articulate them in such a way that it helps me right now, today, where I'm at. And I can remember, and I thought about this weekend, was that the number of times I've contacted you and you've gotten back to me very quickly that day or the next day, either by a phone call or a text, or not a text, but an email, and then setting up a phone call later to really go over what I needed. And so you were accessible, it was almost immediate, and it always worked. And I've shared with you, there were 5 times in the last, 9 years that I almost made a decision that you didn't recommend. And in some of those, you said, well, you could do this or this, but I would recommend this. And you gave me the leeway, of course, to go my direction, whatever that would be. And I always went with you. And 5 times I didn't want to, but I did. And I don't even want to think about what would have happened since then, the consequences if I hadn't listened to you. So, got to get a great mentor who's there for you, who's really investing in you because they want you to succeed and have the joys of successful commercial property investing. And that was critical for me. You've always been there for me, and you don't hesitate to level with me, to be honest with me when you agree and disagree. Critical. And we're talking about decisions that some of those decisions would have lost me several $100,000 had I not done what you said, or at least over time would have. And so, boy, I just say mentor, mentor, mentor. Go with Peter Harris. He's proved himself to me. And I've shared you with several people. And I always say a mentor, great experience, great accessibility, who will dedicate himself to seeing you become successful. That's the greatest pearl right there.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing that. How about another pearl of wisdom from you, Chris?
Sure. This kind of surprised me, but you shared it very early on before I bought anything, and that is commercial property is about relationships. Commercial property is about having the goal when you get a deal and you close it, everybody's happy on both sides of the table. And that was new to me because I always thought, well, you got to have winners, you got to have losers, and it's not true. Really, you strive for everyone to come out happy, or at least content and glad the deal went through. And so I kept that in mind, and it really helped me in my relationships with brokers, with bankers, with the hard money people, with the sellers, and now with someone who's buying the apartments. Great relationship with them. And what has happened from that has given me, it's cultivated a consistent pattern of communication that the other party picks up on the fact that I want this to work for their good and my good. And it really helps smooth the way and get past a lot of hurdles early on. An example would be the broker who's representing me in selling is a fella I met when I bought the storage facility, who worked for that broker, and he was working in multifamily specialty. So I didn't work with him when I bought the storage, but I got to know him a little bit. And lo and behold, now he's my broker selling. So that relationship, and I trust him, he's very good at what he does. It's all because I took the time, like you recommended, to think about relationships and try to groom relationships for the future. And then you develop a bank of relationships, using bank again, of people you can go to for other people's money in the different avenues and the different sources because you have relationships. Yesterday, I got some deals from a particular broker in the target area I have for my next project. And he's feeding me stuff. There's 3 of them that are. And he's giving me good deals to look at. And I want to do a 1031 exchange when the apartments sell. And so I have to be ready, and you're guiding me in that right now, which I appreciate. So relationships, 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 be positive. If you see relationships that are not going the direction they should, you might want to think about fixing it or backing out. There's so many deals out there. And
Yeah.
if I may add one more pearl, which
Sure.
is really kind of polite in the current economy for me, and I kind of just touched on it, and that is, and you have it in your text in your manual, the cycles of commercial property.
Yeah.
And are you going to buy? Are you going to sell? Can you do both in this market? And all that sort of thing. And right now, commercial property is really getting hit hard because of the things going on with extremely high interest rates, etc., bank issues. But there are so many sellers now. They're in my neighborhood and up here in my target area, because what you say in your manual is true. The economy is always good for commercial property. You just have to know what side of the table to be on and what to pursue. So I just want to emphasize that there's always, depending upon the economy, sellers and or buyers.
Yeah.
And just go out there and you find them. And like you had trained me so long ago, was you'll find people that will actually thank you for offering them the opportunity to talk about them selling their property.
Yeah.
They wanted to sell, they just hadn't got to the point yet of recognizing it. So even in this day and age, that would be my third pearl of wisdom is, someone told me the other day, one of my brokers called and said, there are 780 distressed multifamily in the greater Houston area. And that was several months ago. It's higher now.
Mm.
And some of them that are literally about to put their keys on the doorsteps of some of their banks. And these are opportunities for us, you
Yeah.
know. And some of those distressed properties are very much smaller, fourplexes, eightplexes, and that sort of thing. So that would be my third pearl was hang in there, keep the fundamentals, keep doing what you're doing, and you will enjoy it and you'll be successful.
All right. Thanks, Chris. So, in summary, pearl of wisdom number one would be to get help, get expert help, get a mentor, get an experienced advisor, someone who's accessible and has already done what you've done.
Right.
Number two would be
Number two is cultivate relationships.
cultivate relationships. You'll always hear from us and from me personally that this business is such a relationship-based business, right?
Yes, sir.
Opportunities, fixing problems, raising money, everything to do with commercials. There's someone out there that can help you.
Yes.
We always say that, and you're a testament to that. And then number three is basically what I got out of your number three was there, no matter what the economy, there is always opportunities.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing those three pearls of wisdom. Those three are so true, Chris. So true.
My pleasure.
So, Chris, thank you for sharing everything. Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, I would say stick with the fundamentals that Peter shares with you. Go back like I do. And I really enjoy it seeing some of the original videos that I saw on Peter's website in 2016. And it's great because it's a good way of review and it shows you what works. So stick with the fundamentals no matter where the economy is, and if you're buying or selling, and don't waver from them. And when you want to waver, call Peter. Talk to him about it. Go with those weekly question and answer times that I used to just consume that helped me learn from other people learning to do this and from you. So stick with the fundamentals and you will be successful.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Okay, Chris, we're going to end it right here. Thank you so much for sharing, and we'll be talking soon.
Yes, look forward to next time. Thanks,
Okay.
Peter. You're great.
Thank you, Chris. All right, welcome back. Wasn't that just incredible? Isn't Chris like an incredible guy? You know, he wanted to get on this interview with me and share his experience, and he wanted to encourage you that if he can do it, you can do it. Okay, so a lot of this video was his idea because he wanted to share and inspire you all. So do me a favor, just in comments put thank you, Chris. Encourage Chris, give him a high five, do whatever you want. Just tell Chris thank you very much. Okay. All right. So what I want to do now is do a real quick summary on the video. Now, many of you know, as when I started the video, Chris has years ago recorded two videos with me. Those links will appear on the screen. You should watch those because it gives Chris entire background on how he bought the apartments, all the financing, all the hard money, all the refinancing. Then he goes into his storage facility and how all that worked out. So you can learn a lot from those videos. Okay, so those videos will appear on the screen. You can watch them. All right. So just a quick summary. Uh, uh, so Chris bought the 90 units for about $3 million. Okay, and then over the course of time, he renovated them. He operated them well. It's a distressed property. Got the rents up. Now it's worth a whole lot more. And then now, as of today, it's under contract for $4.9 million. Okay. He's going to sell them in 1031 exchange into higher class multifamily or larger self-storage. So that's what he's in the process of doing now. Okay. All right. Now, just a reminder. Okay. So years ago, after Chris made the property worth this much, he refinanced and pulled all of his down payment out. So Chris has no money in this deal right now. No money. Okay. None of all of his down payment and renovation costs he has recaptured. Okay. So this would be pure profit almost. Okay. Minus the mortgage. All right. And then secondly, on his self-storage, if you recall, he paid about $2 million for it. He put $2 million into it. Now, mind you, that $2 million in construction costs, the SBA gave him a no money down loan for that. So because he had equity in his apartments and they liked his experience. Okay, so he purchase price of $2 million, expansion cost of $2 million. So he's $4 million into this project. Today it's worth $9 to $10 million conservatively. It's a huge project. Okay, when you drive down the road, you can't miss it. You can't miss it. All right, and then lastly, real quick, probably the most important part of this video, Chris shared with you his 3 pearls of wisdom. Okay, so you can see Chris's gray hair, just like mine. He's full of wisdom. Okay, you want to share this with you. Pearl number 1 is to get help. Don't try to do this by yourself at this scale. Okay, when you want to start something like commercial real estate, which is a totally different game, get help. In this case, Chris got a mentor. He hired us to help him take his net worth from here to here over time. Okay, so get a mentor. If you're interested, the link will appear on the screen and you can apply to be one of our mentees. All right, number 2, Chris was really, really good at nurturing key relationships. When you buy commercial real estate, it is very dynamic. Okay, you're going to have problems. You got to overcome. You're going to have to raise money. You're going to have to do refinancing. You're going to have to hire management. All these things are relationships in this business that you need to get you over the hump to go from here to there. Okay? All right. So, and Chris is really good at that. So you always hear me say this, that commercial real estate is a relationship-based business. It will always be that way. Always. Okay? All right. And then number 3, Chris says, no matter what the economy, buy commercial real estate. He says that if you choose the right property type, and you have a long-term outlook, you're going to end up like him, okay? A multifamily multimillionaire, okay, who increased his net worth over 15 times over a few years. Got it? All right. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, go ahead and click the like button. If you'd like to get more in this series, I'm doing several of our students, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and we'll push them over to you. All right. Okay, thanks everyone. If you want to get mentored, just like Chris, the link will appear. If you want to read a book, just read a book and just get started, the link will appear. Just download the book and go at it. All right, let me remind you one thing, and that is that the best time to buy commercial real estate, multifamily, was 5 years ago. The next best time is today. Got it? All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the next video.